Hello RageQuitters, this is our video review of Tripwire's Killing Floor 2, a 6-player co-op survival horror experience. So I'll be talking through the pros and cons of the game, whether anything's actually changed for the better since its early access release in April last year. So, without further ado, let's get started. Would you kindly cast your minds all the way back to 2005? You may recall a mod that was released for Unreal Tournament 2004 entitled Killing Floor. It had a full single player campaign, relatively short, but nonetheless it was rather epic, very spooky, very atmospheric, and it was also tough as nails. In addition to the single player campaign, there was also the multiplayer side, where you and a few buddies could team up and fight off the genetic freaks of nature. In an era where horde-based shooters weren't that popular, this was a breath of fresh air. The premise of this multiplayer mode is simple: survive the hordes, move on, purchase better weapons. With each wave that passes, the game throws more and more tougher, bigger, uglier genetic experiments at you. So you gotta be on your toes, know the map, and work as a team. So fast forward a few months or years and we have version 2 of the mod, which has received a drastic overhaul in terms of graphics, lighting, the actual colour palette. Everything has been overhauled and improved upon: animations, audio work, the number of enemies, the enemy variety, it's all improved. So the main additions are the perk system. We've also got the trader, a dedicated trader now, rather than having a locker that you had to access in real time where you could get damaged. Now you can actually go to a safe haven on the map, buy and sell gear until the time runs out, and then continue your slaughter quest. Other large additions were the ability to weld doors, so you could hold out in various places, as well as the medical syringe, whereas on the first version of the mod you picked up medical supplies and just healed. This time you've actually got to heal yourself using your medical syringe. Also allows the player to heal other players in the game. One massive change in this is the campaign was totally scrapped. The focus was solely 6-player multiplayer co-op experience. Now as we fast forward to 2009, the retail version of Killing Floor was released, which meant that the fans waiting for the highly anticipated version 2.52 with the boss fight had to wait until retail. May 2009, Killing Floor is released on Steam as a full retail game. Utilising Tripwire's Red Orchestra engine, the game goes on to sell well over 3 million units, as well as selling millions of DLC in the form of weapon, skin and character packs. Steam trading cards and achievements are also added, as well as Steam Workshop, an outlet for modders to create their own awesome content. The game is soon ported to Mac and Linux and can also be played cross-platform. As well as the visual improvements, more perks are added to the game, with a rudimentary but very grindy levelling system. Progress is saved on the cloud, so your perk progress will follow you regardless of the server you play on. The trader is also reworked. Her door will open in one of 3 random locations, which is highlighted by the arrow to the top left hand corner of the screen. An interesting way to mix things up. All weapons have the signature Tripwire touch to them, animating and sounding beautiful when used. Iron sights, scopes, muzzle flash, recoil, kickback and beautiful sounding weapons. Just what you need when you're laying waste to the genetic clones. The John Woo or Matrix inspired Z time is also added to the game. Score a dramatic death with a well placed grenade or a juicy crunchy headshot. Watch things slow down and give you the advantage for a few precious seconds. Killing Floor is a monumental success. With free seasonal content and a new objective based game mode, the game is well received, garnering a Metacritic score of 72 out of 100 and a Steam rating of overwhelmingly positive. Things are looking good. So, with our brief, but far from exhaustive history lesson, we'll go to Killing Floor 2. This is what we're here for. So how does it stack up against the original? At its core, not a lot has changed. We still have a horde-based shooter. Tripwire stated they didn't want to deviate too far from the original game's roots, and they haven't, which is both a good and a bad thing. At its very best, the game is a highly charged, visceral shooter. Obviously the most striking thing about the game are the visuals. The beautifully realised maps to the ultra cool motion capture animations, Zeds, weapons and character movement is brought to life in painstaking detail and clarity. Zed Time shows off the weapon animations in all their glory. From the wobbling of the gun's barrel to the ejecting brass, they're the best weapon animations since the Battlefield games. The game's map design is sprawling, with hot spots and choke points that the player can use to their advantage. Welding and healing are essentially the same as Killing Floor 1, but have been refined and streamlined for ease of access. Killing Floor 1's medic perk wasn't much fun to play due to the hit and miss nature of the healing darts. This is remedied with both a lock-on and audio cue that makes the medic perk a joy to use. Tripwire has introduced some technical brilliance in Killing Floor 2, such as their proprietary gore system, codenamed MEAT, which stands for Massive Evisceration and Trauma. Each Zed has up to 22 gore zones, which can be shot, hacked and chipped away at. Fans of the Soldier of Fortune games will be right at home with this. The Gibbs actually have weight to them, which makes combat feel incredibly satisfying. The sense of feedback on the weapons only heightens the experience. All of Killing Floor 2's maps have been designed with the splatter map tech, which gives off the cool illusion of persistent blood. You can literally paint the town red without a single hint of slowdown. Video game first, perhaps? Utilising a custom version of Unreal Engine 3, Tripwire has introduced full dynamic lighting, which makes for some stunning visuals. Numerous light sources can also be destroyed, so be careful with those grenades, otherwise be prepared to use your flashlight. A lot. There are 10 perks in Killing Floor 2, 4 more than the first game. Leveling said perks is far more forgiving now that the XP is earned far more liberally and nowhere near as restrictive as those in Killing Floor 1. For more diversity in the perks, players are awarded a perk skill every 5 levels. This enables you to mix things up a little bit. Choice of tactical reload or more ammunition? That's a tough one. Melee combat has been given lots of love, multi-directional swings based on your movements, as well as the ability to block and parry attacks. I dare you not to grin the first time you slice a Zed in half vertically with the katana. It's bloody glorious. Character development has been fleshed out with a brand new, yet limited gear system that enables you to equip cosmetic items. A generous amount of costumes and accessories are included in the core game. However, the collectors among you can either trade or purchase boxes and keys through the in-game economy, much akin to Team Fortress 2's system. Boxes or items will drop randomly at the end of each match, a hot topic for some, but thankfully it is totally optional. Speaking of characters, the game has some rather witty, context-sensitive voiceovers, which thankfully don't get annoying. We're still hearing new battle chatter, even after 380 hours playtime. The trader is also a soft French accent now, a nice departure from Killing Floor 1's annoying and grating trader. Killing Floor 2 also comes with a versus mode, dubbed Be the Zed, a 6 vs 6 mode where one team are the regular survivors and the other team are assigned random Zeds with special abilities and new attacks. It's a nice deviation from the regular game and one we will definitely be playing a lot more of. The game's difficulty has been overhauled this time. In Killing Floor 1, the higher skill levels were mere tweaks in the numbers. Damage dealt to the player, dosh awarded, weapon cost and the amount of damage a Zed could take before it died. However, in Killing Floor 2, this has been mixed up somewhat. The difficulty level now dictates Zed behaviour. High difficulty levels yield faster moving Zeds with alternative and powerful attacks. Also, playing on hard and above skill increases the chances of the special Zeds from the versus mode making an appearance. Playing Hell on Earth is an assault on all the senses. Technically, the PC version reviewed is solid with little to no crashing, smooth frame rates and options aplenty. However, the initial loading of the game can take a while, even when installed on a solid state drive. This is a minor quibble, however. Nvidia has lent its flex technology to Killing Floor 2 with enhanced fluids and gibs. To be honest, the enhanced blood isn't that attractive and simply isn't worth the performance hit. Enhanced gibs, however, aren't as taxing and look awesome, especially in Zed time. Gotta love those sticky, shiny entrails. The frame rate holds steady, even under heavy firefights. At 1080p with all the eye candy and flex gibs ramped up to the max. I am, however, rocking a GTX 1070 GPU, so that definitely helps. The user interface is responsive and snappy, so no complaints there. So, there we have it. Killing Floor 2 is finally here. Just over 19 months in early access, certainly been interesting. Seeing how the game has evolved through dev blogs, streams and community feedback. I feel the last update was a little rushed due to the looming release date, as well as the PS4 and PS4 Pro versions being released simultaneously. The survival perk also feels a little underwhelming. However, the premise of it is cool. Using all weapons under one perk allows you to mix things up significantly. I also feel a little sad about the missing features such as the crawler being able to traverse ceilings and walls. Also, the gore seems to have taken a bit of a downgrade. Nothing significant. Again, Minor niggles, but who knows? Perhaps some enterprising workshop modder could implement these. Who knows? We've got some talented people in this community. As with Killing Floor 1, Killing Floor 2's main problem is longevity. Many a time we've finished a game and about 90% of the people have left. It's a pick up and play, have a blast in small pockets of time game, and that's fine for me, personally. I'd like to see more game modes, more boss characters and a few more weapons of mass destruction. However, one thing Tripwire has proved with their previous games is that they are the kings of post-product support. I'm hopeful to see Mr. Gingerfast and Santa Kev make a return. It's on my Christmas list anyway. In conclusion, I would say Killing Floor 2 is definitely worth your money, so I have no hesitation in awarding this game our prestigious RageQuitters Legendary Gold Award. Thank you very much for watching. If you like more videos like this, click on like, subscribe and drop me a comment. Thank you and goodbye.